As an ambulance officer's wife, my job wasn't to do the radio, but they didn't have enough people to do it. I used to have to sometimes answer the phone, had to do the washing, and I had to do the ironing, and they paid me a lot of money because I used to get 50 cents. And everything had to be starched when I did it, and it was good. We really enjoyed it because we were a family and everyone was all in together. And when they had a relieving station officer that came to town, I would invite them over for a meal, but little did they know I wanted to go and play basketball. They all used to come to home, and at Christmas time, we would have Christmas lunch at our place. One year they all got called out, and we just kept the meal hot for the men when they came back. But being an ambulance officer was a privilege, really. And we were all together with the police, the ambulance and the rescue squad. We were just a family. And if they ever had an accident, they would come back to our place and they would do a debriefing. And all I used to do was make cups of coffee and tea, and that was well, it wasn't my job, but that's what we used to do. So no, it was really good. We enjoyed it. I did a first year course because when I was home and Leo was called out, like the little boy next door, he cut his head, and his mother and everyone else was running and carrying on, and I said, look, he's cut his head, we just put direct pressure on it. I said, he's fine. I said, you're making him worse. You know, we've got to be calm around him like this. Another time, I had a fella at the back and he jumped the fence and he said, I've been bitten by a snake. So I fixed him up, put the kids in the car, put him in the car and took him straight to hospital. And then there was another time this man came and we were living out at the farm at this time, and he pulled in and he said, where's Leo? I said, what's the problem? He said, I've been bitten by a bee, and his chest was just all swollen up. So I said, oh, look, Roy, I said, Leo's gone to Wagga, but we can take you up to the hospital. So we got him into the hospital and they said, gee, this is a very bad case, you know, of bee sting. And no, it was just things like that that was part of it, you know, like everyone used to think we were the ambulance station at times, and we lived about 2 kilometres away from the ambulance station. But that was the done thing, you know, because Leo was ambulance, they thought I was too. But no, I think it was every 3 years, I just upgraded and done a first aid course, so I knew, you know, what was going on and what to do for them. And people just felt that a lot calmer when they could come if Leo wasn't home and I was there. Leo and I, we do the ambulance retired reunions twice a year, and young Bill, 2 Bills in Sydney, he helps as well. We do it as 3 of us together, and I'm always getting people ringing up and saying, right, what can I do on the day? And everyone's there helping and taking on jobs, but the main thing is to get medals and badges for all the ambulance ones that haven't got them, and it's really good to be able to do that. And I've got a lovely lady that I ring, Michelle from Legacy, and she is absolutely beautiful. I've been battling for years to get these, and when they open the museum, my ambulance blokes, they got the certificates of service given to them, and honestly, I was so ashamed when they got them because they wasn't any good. So Michelle got them for me. Dominic Morgan, he came down, and I know they've all got titles, and they all came down and presented, and honestly, that was the best thing. Everyone is still talking about how they came down to the museum here. They were presented with their certificates and medals, by the big boss. And we have not forgotten, even though we've been out of the ambulance service for quite a few years. And what made it the day was we went out the back of the museum, and out the back was the ambulance officers, ambulance paramedics from here in Temora, all dressed in their uniform. And that is the first time that's ever happened, and they went, well, we've been recognised. And it's well worth doing it, because they're worth, for all the jobs and all the things that they've done. And I know a lot of them ring up, they talk for an hour, and I've got a time limit. I tell them to get off the phone, I've got work to do. But no, they all ring, which is good. With Leo and I, when Leo was going to school, I would sit up of a night and we would go through all these questions, asking him all the questions, because he was going to school and he needed to know the answers, and we'd go through, and sometimes be 3 o'clock in the morning and I'd say, enough, I've got to have a sleep. And he'd say, oh, just another one, just another question. And I was very proud of Leo, because he went to school with paramedics, and his last school, he duxed it. And that was our hard work. No, we're a partnership, and so is our children. Our children used to always be in the mock accidents that Leo did. He went to Sydney and he did a makeup thing in Sydney, and when he'd come home, he'd dress them all up, and anyway, the paper came and took a photo of them, and people were ringing us saying, how are the kids? So that's what they used to do, all these mock accidents, and we were all part of that. So it was really good. But if we didn't go and do the Mardi Gras up the main street, they used to block the town off. If we didn't do that, well, they didn't get paid. So we didn't mind, we were always there. And then when we had the Leeton show, all the men were down there selling lucky envelopes, and I was up at the ambulance station, and we had one fella, Bill Fern, and he used to be in the ambulance going to the hospital, and Bill used to stutter, and he'd go, I, and then I'd see him go past the ambulance station, and then he'd say, oh, I'm at the bloody hospital. I say, no, Bill, I saw you go past, mate. So, just things like that, and it was just, you were part of them, and it was just beautiful to be part of them. And there's nothing for, even if Leo was home and he was on days off, some people would ring up and say, Leo, can you just come around? And he'd go around and see them. So it was just, that's how it was in those days. And the police were the same. They'd come around and beep the horn. Didn't matter if it was 11 o'clock or 11:30, they wanted a cuppa. So nowadays they don't do that, but in those days they did. In those days, Lee Clout, she would ring up and she'd say, Doreen, Leo's at Wagga. Don't put his dinner on yet. I'll ring you when he's leaving. Okay, Lee. So then she'd ring up and she'd say, right, Leo's left Wagga, and Baden Maiden was the same. Greg Brain was the same. They always used to keep me in whenever Leo went out, or if he went to Griffith, and they'd ring up and they'd say, oh, he's gone to Griffith, don't worry, I'll ring you when he's on his way home. And that was great, because, but then poor Leo, it was his birthday party, and the kids, so excited because Dad was coming home for his birthday, and we had everything done, and then he pulled in the yard, he got radioed, he had to go to Wagga. And the kids said, well, there you go. Dad's gone. And on our 25th wedding anniversary, the kids they gave us a surprise, but they forgot to tell Chris at the ambulance station, and Leo ended up at Borellan, and he got home at 11:30 when everyone was leaving. So that was what you did in those days. And Christmas was the same. The kids used to say, why has my dad got to go to work? And they didn't have special days off or anything. But that was how it was, because we didn't have very many ambulance officers then.
Yeah, there's always one to do those.
It was life. That's how we were together.
We still are.
Yep.
The same.
Yep.